My fiancé stripped his best friend at his bachelor's party and tried to downplay it as a prank that got out of hand. Now, he's waiting for his trial instead of our wedding. My fiancé Alex has had a best friend Danny since they were 4. She's a lovely sweet person who has never crossed boundaries with Alex or their 2 other friends Marcus and Daniel. The 4 are very close. Danny is gay and always was. She is very much a woman but likes to dress in jeans and t-shirts and not in any feminine clothing. She is lean, tall, has short hair and is just one of the boys in a lot of ways. This weekend was Alex's bachelor party. All 4 plus 2 other of Alex's friends went along. It was to a coastal town that's well known for hosting bachelor and bachelorette parties, but there's no club or anything. They stayed in a B&B and have scuba diving and kayaking planned. The first night went okay, dinner, restaurant and nightclub and home. Last night was the issue. They did the nightclub and headed back to the house. Marcus and Daniel, who are both single, brought back 2 girls from the nightclub and got busy in their bedrooms. The rest were drinking in the living room, but things got a bit loud and the 2 friends started complaining that they didn't get to go to a club and never got to see TTS and as. They were blaming their wives and calling them names. Danny told them to shush as it was ruining the mood, and they both thought it would be funny if they saw Danny's body naked to make up for it. The thing is, Alex joined in and they stripped her. She was screaming loudly and Marcus and Daniel came running and rescued Danny, put her in the bedroom with the girls and had a fight with the 3 men. Daniel doesn't drink due to a chronic medical condition and the medication he is on. So they packed up and took Danny and the 2 girls and left the other 3. Danny was hysterical and Marcus wanted her to go to the police, but she wouldn't. She was afraid to go home, so they ended up dropping the girls off and taking Danny to her parents, which was an hour away. Marcus was at my door at 7 a.m. this morning and he told me what happened if he ever sees Alex again. He's afraid of how things could go. He told me that if he can convince Danny to press charges he will. Then he left. Alex returned about 3 this afternoon. He was acting normally until I told him Marcus had visited. He was very nervous and tried to play down what happened as a joke that got out of hand. I'm devastated. I heard him out, but he knew I wasn't accepting what he was saying. I told him Danny may be going to the police and he got very panicked and pale. He said she had him blocked and he wanted to go talk to her. I told him she wasn't at her place as she was too afraid he or his buddies would turn up there. I asked him to leave and he didn't want to go, but I insisted. He was crying, saying it was a prank that got out of hand. I heard him out only as a courtesy to our 2-year relationship, but I'm done. I don't know this man. I don't know if I should reach out to Danny or just do nothing. Marcus and I have been in constant contact and he agrees that I have no option but to end things. I don't know where to start with canceling everything as the wedding was in 5 weeks, but it seems trivial compared to what Danny is going through right now. Marcus is convinced that Danny is going to the police after talking to her parents, so I think Alex is in trouble. I can't support him on this. Maybe I'm wrong as he was drunk and probably had taken other things, but this was his friend from age 4 and he did this to her. I've not blocked Alex, but I've not replied or picked up any of his calls. Update 1. It's been a terrible day. I can't reach out to my friends yet as I'm shamed. I did tell my parents and my brother and they have been wonderful. My brother brought his friend with him when he came to stay, and today both of them packed up every bit of my ex's stuff and took it to his parents' house. Ex was there and just asked if that meant I was finished with him, and my brother said yes. Did he really expect any other reaction? His father intervened and told his ex not to say anything more. He told my brother to tell me to contact him about canceling the wedding. I'm not contacting his father ever. My parents are handling canceling the wedding, and my father got into my cousin who is a lawyer and he is going to help and advise me as needed. I've had to disentangle myself from ex on Lisa's bank account savings and such, although my brother made me transfer all of my money from joint account savings and daily accounts to my own account. It's a mess. I tried to ring Danny, but she wasn't up for speaking to anyone, so I just texted her that I was there for her and that I had broken up with Alex. She hasn't replied and I don't expect she will. She's in a bad way apparently. Daniel spent 3 hours with me today. A lot is going on, but I'm afraid to say too much for fear of damaging any court case. Just to say there are 2 videos of the incident. One by Jeb, one of the 2 friends. A lot of it is chaotic, but the last part is clear and telling apparently. The owners of the rental house apparently have gotten involved and have footage, but I can't say more. When Marcus left me, he went to both those guys' wives and told them what happened. Jeb's wife has been very helpful apparently, and she has split from him. The other guy's wife too has left him. Things are going how most of you want them to go, that's all I will say. Well, I will add it was worse than what Marcus shared. Daniel told me that before Danny found her style, she had long hair and dressed feminine and was stunningly beautiful, and all 3 of them were in love with her as teens. Alex took her rejection very personally apparently, and Daniel says he was angry and bitter for a couple of years but hid it from her. He thought he had gotten over it, but Daniel felt this smacks of revenge against her. Scary if this is true. I haven't continued to receive hundreds of texts from Alex. He told me his father told him to stop texting me, but he can't. I haven't replied or blocked based on advice. This is very hard and I don't know what way all this is going to end up. Update 2. I got a call from Danny. Daniel has been ever present and I'm guessing it was because he knew she was going to call. There's a lot more to the story. The first night was normal as I said, but on Saturday, Alex, Jeb and their friend decided not to go scuba diving with Danny, Daniel, and Marcus. Danny was feeling very hungover and gave up after an hour and went back to the Airbnb. She walked into the living room to find all 3 guys engaging in intimate acts with 2 women. Jeb shouted at her to get out as this was costing them a fortune. The women were escorts. She left and went back to the boat and only told Marcus what she saw. When they all went back later, Alex told her to not tell me as it was just his last bit of freedom. She told him she was disgusted with him and that he wasn't free. She told him she would have to think about what to do. Marcus convinced her to stay another night as he and Daniel had met the two girls the night before and were seeing them again that night, and if Danny wanted to leave then Daniel would have to take her as he was her ride and there wasn't public transport in the tiny town. So Alex cheated as did the other two. Marcus told their wives that morning but not me. He was going to do it in stages as he knew I was in shock. The actual assault went further than Marcus told me, and while Alex hadn't actually done anything beyond pulling off her clothes, unlike the other two, he stood by and watched and did nothing to help her. Danny is still unsure if Alex wasn't just waiting his turn or all he was going to do was watch. She said she thought he had taken shrooms earlier but couldn't be sure. Marcus and Daniel did rescue her but things had already escalated. She went to the police immediately and she got to her parents. The Airbnb owners had also gone independently when they saw the footage. All three men are facing the consequences of their actions. Danny told me she was sorry she didn't tell me immediately like she wanted to do. She is very distraught still. I didn't want to make things worse for her. I don't think I am needed for any legal proceedings, so I finally blocked Alex and his parents. The wedding is cancelled, and I'm just starting to disentangle myself from Alex on bank accounts and such.